Mercedes is back. With a podium finish for Russell and an incredible debut from Antonelli, the W16 surprised everyone at the Australian GP. But is it enough to challenge McLaren and Red Bull? Stay tuned because today we analyze everything you need to know about this new Mercedes. Do you think Mercedes will be able to fight for victories this season? Comment your opinion. Mercedes has taken an important step in the evolution of its single-seater for the 2025 season with the W16, a car that has been redesigned in multiple key areas to correct the issues that limited its performance in 2024. After a season in which McLaren and Ferrari managed to overtake the German team in the fight for the Constructors' Championship, the technical team led by James Allison worked intensively to develop a more balanced and competitive concept. The W16 maintains the design philosophy introduced in 2022 with the current regulations, but with substantial modifications that seek to improve aerodynamic efficiency, stability in slow corners, and tire management. Unlike the W15, this new model features adjustments to the front suspension to improve corner entry response and allow for better interaction with the tires, a key aspect that negatively affected its predecessor. During pre-season testing in Bahrain, initial testing indicated that the car had significantly improved in terms of overall balance. Mercedes engineers focused their efforts on reducing understeer, a problem that had been a constant over the past 2 years and limited the driver's ability to attack in low-speed areas. However, George Russell mentioned that, although the car feels more cohesive and predictable in its handling, there are still areas that need to be refined, especially in its response on soft tires. The aerodynamic development of the W16 has been another area of major evolution. The team has modified virtually every surface of the car, from the side pods to the floor, with the aim of improving airflow efficiency and generating greater downforce without compromising straight-line speed. One of the most notable changes has been the redesign of the car's sides, following a trend similar to that of Red Bull and McLaren, teams that have found great advantage in managing aerodynamic flow with more aggressive solutions in this area. Another key aspect of the W16's evolution has been the integration of a new front suspension, which seeks to improve traction out of corners and optimize the way the car interacts with different tire compounds. This has been a critical point for Mercedes in recent years, as the car's performance varied greatly depending on the type of compound used. In pre-season testing, it was observed that the car responded well to medium and hard tires, but struggled to extract maximum performance from soft tires, which could pose a challenge in qualifying sessions. Mercedes' transition to this new concept has also been marked by a change in its driver lineup. With the departure of Lewis Hamilton to Ferrari, the team has opted for a combination of experience and youth with George Russell and rookie Kimi Antonelli. This represents an additional challenge in the car's development, as Antonelli, despite his talent, is still adapting to Formula One. Driver feedback will be crucial in the upcoming races to define the updates the team will implement on the car. The W16 has been designed to be more consistent on different types of circuits, something Mercedes failed to achieve with its predecessor. During 2024, the team displayed inconsistent performance depending on the track characteristics, which prevented them from consistently fighting for podium finishes. With the new aerodynamic package and mechanical adjustments, the goal is to minimize these fluctuations and achieve a more versatile car that can be competitive on both high-speed circuits and more technical layouts. Despite the progress, the Brackley-based team is aware that there are still areas for improvement. Understeer in slow corners is still present in certain scenarios, and the lack of optimization with soft tires could compromise qualifying sessions. However, early impressions indicate that Mercedes has made progress in the right direction, and with the right updates, the W16 could become a car capable of more consistently challenging for podium positions throughout the season. The Australian Grand Prix has been a crucial test for Mercedes in its quest to regain competitiveness in Formula One. Albert Park, a semi-street circuit with unique characteristics, represented a perfect challenge to evaluate the W16's performance in different conditions. From free practice to the race, the team's performance reflected both its progress and the areas where they still need to improve to consistently fight for victories. During the first practice sessions, George Russell and Kimi Antonelli showed competitive pace on long runs with hard and medium tires. The car seemed to respond well in these conditions, allowing the drivers to complete race simulations with controlled degradation and consistent times. However, when the team tested the soft tires in qualifying simulations, performance did not improve as much as expected. While other teams achieved significant gains with the softer compound, the W16 did not show the same progression in lap times, which became a major concern for Mercedes heading into qualifying. On Saturday in qualifying, this issue became evident. Russell managed to qualify in a decent position within the top 5, but lacked the competitiveness needed to challenge McLaren and Ferrari for pole position. Antonelli, on the other hand, had a more difficult session due to a setup issue that affected his confidence in the car. Furthermore, damage to the car's floor limited his performance, leaving him in a disappointing 16th position on the starting grid. This difference in results between the two drivers highlighted the team's difficulty in maximizing the car's potential on a fast lap, something that could be a significant obstacle at circuits where qualifying is key to the final result. On Sunday, the race featured extremely variable conditions that tested both the car's capabilities and the team's strategy. From the start, Russell maintained a solid pace and remained in contention for the podium thanks to a well-executed pit stop strategy. Antonelli, meanwhile, began his comeback from the back of the grid with an aggressive approach and a great ability to adapt to the changing conditions. One of the determining factors in the race was tire management at different stages of the Grand Prix. As the track evolved and tire temperatures fluctuated with the intermittent rain, the teams that managed to maintain an optimal balance between performance and durability achieved the best results. Russell demonstrated his expertise by managing his tires efficiently, avoiding premature wear and ensuring his pace remained stable in the final stretch of the race. The most critical moment came when the rain began to intensify in the final stages of the race. Mercedes' decision to keep its drivers on track on dry tires during a key period of the race proved to be a wise one, allowing them to gain positions on rivals who opted to switch to intermediates too early. Russell used this opportunity to consolidate his third position, while Antonelli made key overtakes that lifted him to fourth, completing a spectacular comeback on his Formula One debut. Despite the strong result, the W16's performance still shows areas for improvement. The difficulty in extracting the full potential from the soft tires in qualifying remains an issue the team will need to address if it wants to be in contention for wins. Furthermore, although the race pace was competitive, the gap to McLaren in normal conditions remains significant. Russell was the first to acknowledge that, without the changing conditions, the gap to the leaders would have been more evident. The overall balance of the weekend leaves mixed results for Mercedes. On the one hand, the team has demonstrated that the W16 has the potential to fight for podium finishes in favorable conditions, but on the other, it's clear that they are still a step behind McLaren and Red Bull in terms of pure performance. However, achieving third and fourth places on a demanding circuit in tricky conditions is an encouraging sign for the future. Antonelli's progress was another positive aspect of the weekend. Despite his poor starting position, the young driver showed great maturity and adaptability, suggesting he has the talent to become a strong contender in the future. His ability to manage his tires and execute overtaking moves at key moments in the race reinforces the team's confidence in his potential. Looking ahead to the upcoming races, Mercedes will need to focus on optimizing the W16's performance in qualifying and continuing to work on soft tire management. The conditions at the Australian Grand Prix were challenging, but they also provided valuable information the team can use to fine-tune its car. The result in Melbourne is a step in the right direction, but the real challenge will be maintaining this competitiveness in normal conditions and at more representative circuits on the calendar. The Australian Grand Prix marked a turning point for Mercedes on its path back to the fight for the top positions in Formula One. The result in Melbourne, with a third place for George Russell and an impressive comeback from Kimi Antonelli to fourth, reflects the team's progress, but also highlights the challenges they still need to overcome to catch McLaren and Red Bull in the fight for victories. The W16 has proven to be a solidly based car, but it still has limitations that could compromise its competitiveness throughout the season. Its strengths include improved race stability and the ability to efficiently manage the medium and hard tires, which has allowed the team to maximize its performance in real-world racing conditions. Furthermore, the strategy executed in Australia was key to achieving a positive result on a weekend marked by changeable weather conditions. However, the areas Mercedes needs to work on if it wants to become a true championship contender have also become clear. Qualifying remains a weak point due to the W16's difficulty extracting maximum performance from the soft tires, which could compromise its performance on circuits where grid position is crucial. Furthermore, understeer in slow corners continues to affect the car's handling, limiting the driver's confidence when attacking certain sections of the track. George Russell has assumed the leadership role within the team with a clear mindset focused on constant improvement. His experience and analytical skills will be essential in the car's development throughout the season. Meanwhile, Kimi Antonelli's debut was one of the biggest surprises of the weekend. His ability to quickly adapt to Formula One and his aggressiveness in the race demonstrated that Mercedes has opted for a driver with enormous potential for the future. the Brackley-based team has a clear path ahead. With proper planning and efficient execution of the planned updates, Mercedes could close the gap on its main rivals and establish itself as a team capable of consistently fighting for podium finishes. The upcoming races will be crucial in assessing the true potential of the W16 and measuring the effectiveness of the solutions the team introduces to the car. The big question is whether Mercedes will be able to maintain this level of performance on circuits with different characteristics than Albert Park, and whether they will be able to address their weaknesses in time to stay in the fight for the top positions. The season is long, and the car's development will play a crucial role in the battle for the top spots. In this context, the evolution of the W16 in the upcoming Grand Prix will be key to determining whether Mercedes is in a position to fight for victories or whether its fight will be limited to occasional podium finishes. The team has demonstrated that it has the talent and infrastructure to develop a competitive car, but the true test will be its ability to implement improvements quickly and effectively. Mercedes' future in the 2025 season will depend on its ability to adapt to the demands of the grid and the performance of the W16 compared to its rivals. If they manage to address their weaknesses and capitalize on their strengths, they could become serious contenders to challenge McLaren and Red Bull for the top spots in the championship. However, any delay in their development program could leave them in a mid-table position, dependent on external circumstances to achieve outstanding results. The battle in Formula One is closer than ever, and every detail will make the difference between success and frustration. Mercedes has taken a positive first step in Australia, but the real test is yet to come.